Welcome to SVR IAS Academy. CommandIndia.com is our website where we provide prelims, mains and current affairs online video lectures. Visit our website CommandIndia.com to get free current affairs articles and videos. Download our application from the Google Play Store. Go to the Google Play Store and search for SVR IAS Academy. You will be able to download our application. In this newspaper analysis video lecture, we are going to discuss 4 to 5 important articles. Today's date is August 9th, 2017. Let's discuss the articles one by one. Now we will discuss about another article published in the New Indian Express. How saliva powered battery could run diagnostic applications. In many developing countries, including India, people used to spit saliva in the streets and pollute the atmosphere. Many diseases are spreading because of this activity. Some countries put a fine if someone spits in the common place. Leave that issue. The current affairs is that scientists used spit of saliva to activate battery that can power micro applications like diagnostic applications in the extreme conditions. So when power is not there and if any diagnostic application should be done means simply spit the saliva into the diagnostic machine, then battery will get activated and we can take diagnostic applications. This is the concept behind developing this technology. So it is a high performance technology. There is a bacteria powered battery. It's a bacteria powered battery so that it generates power within minutes. When you add saliva to the machine, it contains bacteria. The bacteria spits saliva and powers the battery within few minutes. This kind of battery is commonly called as microbial fuel cell. It contains bacteria and it has inactive and freeze-dried exoelectrogenic cells. Exoelectrogenic cells. This application will be quite useful for the developing countries because many hospitals are located far away from the city in the hilly areas where power supply is not continuous. When power supplies are generally required for taking diagnostic techniques, the microbial fuel cell can be used. So the commercial batteries are very expensive and over qualified and also poses environmental pollution. But this kind of fuel cell that is functioning based on the microbes will not pose any environmental hazard. The technology has many competitive advantages because it is a on-demand battery activation. So whenever the power supply is required, we can activate that. And here the freeze drying technology is used. Freeze drying technology enables long-term storage of the cells without degradation or denaturation. So for long-term point of view, it is very useful and even one drop of saliva is required to power this battery. This topic comes in our GS paper 3 where we have a syllabus called Application of Science and Technology in our day-to-day life. So let's prepare well on this topic. Another important news that has been published on August 8, 2017 was preparatory meeting of first BIMSTEC Disaster Management Exercise 2017 begins. What is BIMSTEC? BIMSTEC stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technological and Economic Cooperation. So Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation. It is an international organization. It involves countries in the South Asia and Southeast Asia. The members of the BIMSTEC are Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan and Nepal. So the members are India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Thailand, 5 nations around Bay of Bengal. Apart from 5 nations, Nepal and Bhutan are also members of the BIMSTEC international organization. So there are 7 countries are the members of the BIMSTEC group. Another important prelims point is that the headquarters of the BIMSTEC is located in Dhaka. Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh. So it's an important exam point you should remember. What is the main objective of this organization? The main objective is the technical and economic cooperation among the South Asian and Southeast Asian nations which are located along the Bay of Bengal. So commerce, investment, technology, tourism, human resource development, agriculture, fisheries, transport, all are included in the list of cooperation between these 7 nations. Recently, the first phase of the first BIMSTEC Disaster Management Exercise 2017 was begun in India, and it was organized by National Disaster Response Force. So National Disaster Response Force organized the first India BIMSTEC Disaster Management Exercise. What is the main objective of this exercise? The exercise will help in augmentation of the capacities, especially the response capacity, and it will also promote and coordinate in the disaster risk reduction. So the exercise will be useful for the disaster risk reduction. India is one of the country which is proactive in the disaster management. India already hosted South Asian Annual Disaster Management Exercise. South Asian Annual Disaster Management Exercise was hosted by India. Apart from that, India also hosted Asian Ministerial Conference for Disaster Risk Reduction, and India also offered its experience in the disaster risk reduction in the form of giving the South Asia Satellite GSAT-9 and Tsunami Early Warning Center to other nations. Tsunami Early Warning Center is located in the institute called INCOIS. It is located in the place called Hyderabad. So India offers its Tsunami Early Warning services to many Southeast Asian nations. If you look at the natural disasters, the impact of the natural disasters are increasing due to the growing population and urbanization. So we need to have the best practices in the disaster risk reduction like prevention, mitigation and resilience. These are critical to the disaster management. So this topic comes in GS paper 3 where we have a syllabus called disasters and disaster management. So let's prepare well on this topic. Next we will discuss about Commerce Ministry to wind up Directorate General of Supplies and Disposal this year. This article has been published in the Economic Times newspaper. Directorate General of Supplies and Disposal. It is the government's procurement arm. Commerce Ministry has started the process of shutting down the Directorate General of Supplies and Disposals Office. It is a 100-year-old office. It was established by British government. At present, Directorate General of Supplies and Disposals is managing the public procurement of goods and services. So, the Commerce Ministry's e-market platform is managed by Directorate General of Supplies and Disposal. Before closing any public organization or government organization, government has to think about manpower in this organization. VRS should be given or proper arrangement should be made so that the persons who are employed in this organization should not be affected. The office has 4 regional offices including Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi and Kolkata. Headquarters is in Delhi. As already we discussed, Director General of Supplies and Disposal has its origin in the India Stores Department, which was established in the year 1860 by the British government for purchase of the imported stores. Later, in the year 1922, India Stores Department was established in India to arrange the purchases for government civil departments and military purchases. After independence, Government of India has set up Director General of Supplies and Disposals. If you are reading the newspaper regularly, you might have studied about 2016 news. In the year 2016, Commerce Ministry has launched Government e-market platform to bring the greater transparency and efficiency in the public procurement. So, the launching of the government e-market platform eliminated the human interface in the vendor registration, order placement and payment process. So, it reduced the role of Director General of Supplies and Disposal to a greater extent. It is also another reason for Commerce Ministry's plan to close this institute. So let's prepare well on this topic. Now we will discuss one important topic, that is India ratifies second commitment period of Kyoto Protocol. The article has been published in the New Indian Express. In this background, you have to analyze what is Kyoto Protocol and when Kyoto Protocol has ended, what are the salient features of Kyoto Protocol. Then you have to move to the second commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol. First, let's discuss what is Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is nothing but an international agreement to UNFCCC. What is UNFCCC? It stands for United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change. So, Kyoto Protocol is an international agreement that is linked to UNFCCC. One important point about Kyoto Protocol is that it recognizes common but differentiated responsibilities. Common but differentiated responsibilities. It means all countries are responsible for the climate change or greenhouse gas emission, but all countries cannot be equated equally. Developed countries are primarily responsible for the current high level of greenhouse gas emission because they are developing for last 150 years. Because of their industrial activity, the carbon dioxide emission reached high level mainly because of the developed countries, and at present developing countries also emitting high amount of greenhouse gases. As you might be knowing that at present China is the world's biggest polluter. China is the world's largest polluter, means it releases maximum amount of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. Second rank goes to USA. These are the some factual points you should know in this topic. So you have to prepare very well about common but differentiated responsibility. UPSC already asked the mains question in this topic. So far you understood what is common but differentiated responsibility. All countries are responsible, but developed countries are primarily responsible for the current situation. So for that, Kyoto Protocol makes it binding on the developed countries to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So it places target on the developed countries and it is binding on the developed countries. So the developed countries who signed the Kyoto Protocol must reduce their greenhouse gas emission according to the target fixed by Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol was adopted in the place called Kyoto in Japan in the year 1997, and the detailed rules for the implementation of the Kyoto Protocol adopted in the city called Marrakesh in the Morocco nation. Morocco nation is an African nation located along the west coast of the Africa. So these implementation rules are often referred as Marrakesh Accords. Marrakesh Accords. It states that the first implementation period of Kyoto Protocol is between 2008 and the period ended in 2012. These two factual points you should remember for the IAS prelims examination. In the year 2012, Doha Amendment was adopted to the Kyoto Protocol. What is Doha Amendment? As already we discussed, the first commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol was ended in the year 2012. After adoption of the Doha Amendment, the second commitment period for the Kyoto Protocol was announced. It is between 2013 till 2020. So second commitment period of Kyoto Protocol extends from 2013 to 2020. Kyoto Protocol divides countries into Annex 1 parties and Annex 2 parties. About Kyoto Protocol we discussed in detail in our Environment and Ecology online video lecture. So the news is that India has ratified the second commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol. Under this, countries commits to contain the emission of greenhouse gases and reaffirms its stand on the climate action. So recently India has deposited its instrument of acceptance of the Doha Amendment to Kyoto Protocol to the UN. One factual point is that India became the 80th country. India became the 80th country to accept the Doha Amendment to Kyoto Protocol. So let's prepare well on the Kyoto Protocol. It's one of the important area for IAS prelims and mains examination every year. That's all about today's current affairs articles analysis. And go to our website commandindia.com and go to the prelims test series menu section and go to current affairs, where we post current affairs quiz on daily basis. You can attend the test. It will give you the overall analysis, section wise analysis and topic wise analysis as well, and also you will get time wise analysis. It means for every question how much time you take, whether you took the recommended time of 1.12 minute or more than that. So it will give you the detailed analysis about your performance. Thank you for watching this video lecture and all the best for your IAS 2018 exam preparation.